Hopefully this will benefit some of you young people who are kind of like confused and like kind of just don't have a direction and like just need answers, you know what I'm saying? So this is more of my target audience. This isn't to say that I'm somebody special. Like, you know, I'm totally like the same as you. Like, me and you, we're no different than each other. And I'm really only doing this because, you know, this is probably something I would have wanted to hear, like when I was your age, you know, maybe like 15, 16, 17, even 18, you know what I'm saying? So this is kind of just like, you know, somebody who's like already been through it and has more experience, like, you know, more experience basically. But I think the first topic I want to get into is heartbreak. You know, that's really, I feel like that's where most people are kind of like struggling and stuff, and you know, they've been through a heartbreak. But in my eyes, I think that everybody should go through heartbreak, especially young men. Like, that is just like a canon event for everybody to just go through, you know what I'm saying? But hold on, somebody's calling me. Let me just ignore that. Every young man should get their heart broken, because that's what kind of like opens up their mind and just like, you know, like just really basically breaks them in for what's to come. Getting your heart broken as a young man is probably the worst freaking pain you can get. It just sucks, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's happened to me, you know, maybe once or twice, but you know, you're always gonna get back up from this. Like, it's not something that's gonna stay like this forever. Like, you know, it might suck for like the first month, or you know, maybe even 2-3 months, you know what I'm saying? But you'll get through it eventually. And you know, it's just like something for you to learn. For, you know, happens to everybody. It's happened to me, it's happened to, you know, countless of other people. I'd say get your heart broken, you know, maybe once or twice, you know, until you actually get the idea of, you know, maybe this is meant to happen. You know, if something is meant for you, it'll always find its way back to you, you know what I'm saying? So don't try to force anything that's not meant for you, basically. My second point and advice would be save yourself for, you know, your wife or somebody who you actually see a future with. So my mistake was, you know, I was fucking like, you know what, 15 years old. I was in high school, and, you know, the cool thing was, you know, losing your virginity, or like having all these bodies, and oh, yo, I fucked her, you know, we fucked and all that stuff. And like, bro, honestly, really looking back at it, it's silly to think that people would even like have scores, or like even like keep, like, you know, think of it as like a cool thing, when in reality it's not really a cool thing. Like, you grow up and you know, I'm 20 years old, so like I did that when I was like 16, and I look back at it and I wish I would have, you know, listened to somebody, or like, you know, actually took somebody's advice, and, you know, saving yourself, because you know, that stuff is always gonna be there, you know what I'm saying? But it's not worth your time and energy of, you know, actually condoning in those, like, you know, in those activities, because in the end it doesn't really benefit you. It's kind of just like a temporary pleasure, you know what I'm saying? Like, comes and goes away. Like, it's really not like anything that, you know, that benefits you really. And honestly, I'm a Christian myself. I believe in God, you know what I'm saying? So it would have been a real nice thing to actually, like, you know, if I would have waited for that experience and, you know, the right person, because sex is meant to be more, you know, more than physical. It's not for pleasure or anything. It's more of like, that's the closest you can be to a person. So why not be with somebody, you know, why not do that with somebody you actually want to be close with, you know what I'm saying? Or like have that connection with. That's what I'm saying. So I would definitely say, you know, saving yourself for somebody you see a future with, you know, definitely something I should have done. But, you know, we live and we learn. So pornography, do not get into pornography. Pornography is the worst thing a young man, a young person could ever get themselves into. That is something where it's kind of just like, it objectifies women and like just, you know, sees them as some like pleasure device, or just like an object to where you can just like, you know, have sex with them or have instant gratification and stuff like that. And it doesn't teach you anything about like, you know, the natural way to even approach women or like have communication or relationships with them. You don't want to be doing that. And if you are doing that, it's fine. You know, we've all been there. We're all young dudes. We've all been there, but it doesn't benefit you. It really does kind of alter your brain wires and stuff like that, on like how you think about women, how you view yourself too. Like, you seem to be sad and down, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's something that's always like came with that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I would say don't get into that stuff. And if you are, try to find an escape to that stuff. So, you know, keep yourself busy, do stuff that, you know, maybe find a new hobby, you know, try to distance yourself from that stuff and try to find an alternative. Try to be more social, I would say. You know, I'm a pretty social guy myself, but it's taken some time for me to get to this point to where like I can where I can socialize with anybody, you know, and just, you know, pick up a conversation or, you know, not even get nervous anymore. But I would say being social has really does have its benefit. For example, today, you know, I went to go eat at a restaurant today, literally, and I was trying sushi for the first time. And this guy was just looking at the sushi menu. I was sitting by myself, mind you, like, you know, it's not, you know, I kind of want to talk to somebody, but I was by myself. So I just picked up a conversation with him, you know, just talking about how, oh, you've tried sushi before, like, what's the best thing to try? Or, like, you know, stuff like that is kind of where you can get yourself out there and stuff and, like, you know, just, like, start conversing with people. The more people you know, the more, you know, the more chances or the more experience you can get. Like, imagine, like, I was talking to this one guy. I was working at Walmart. I'm a door greeter at Walmart. So, you know, I had talked to a lot of people. That's my job. So I was talking to this one dude, and he happened to know this really famous boxer. And I thought he was joking, and, you know, I was just talking to him like a regular guy, and he ends up telling me that he's best friends with, like, this super, like, boxer, like, this freaking big boxer. I forgot what his name was, but you guys can take my word for this, because, like, I was like, kind of shocked. I was like, no way you know him, like, what? And then he showed me pictures and stuff, and it's kind of cool how everything can basically take you into, like, a new, like, possibility or, like, a new, you know, experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could meet somebody that could change your life forever. Like, imagine that. Just by talking to them, just by speaking to them. And I feel like that's a really good opportunity just to, like, put yourself out there and, you know, increase your confidence more and, like, speaking to people and just, you know, expressing who you are as a person and, you know, what you bring to the table. My last advice for you guys is save some money. You know what I'm saying? Saving money is probably the biggest, best thing you can do for yourself for the future. Because, you know, us as, you know, younger people in general just don't know how to spend their money. And, you know, in the end, it's going to bite them in their ass, like, reality. Like, you know, I know you guys have that one friend that's, like, broke as shit all the time. You don't want to be that person. And, you know, just saving, like, even, like, a little bit of your money. Just, like, every time you get paid, if you even save, like, even a little bit of that, that's, like, a good way to start saving money for your future. Because you don't want to be, you know, 30, 40 years old, broke as shit, living with your parents. You know, no car, no nothing. No, you have to be better. You start saving money, even like a small percentage of your paycheck. Just put it into a savings account. It might sound like it's like a, you know, long time away, maybe 20, 30 years, but it's right. It's better to be safe than sorry. You know, you never know what's happening in these, you know, in these times. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just random, but you don't want to be one of the unlucky ones who didn't think about it and you're now 30, 40 years old, broke as shit, flipping patties at McDonald's. Not that there's anything bad about that, but you have bigger plans for yourself. Spend some time alone. This is my biggest one because I've honestly struggled with this one too. Taking time alone really opens your eyes and just helps you determine and find out who you are as a person. Because, you know, without all of them social media distractions, without, you know, people hitting you up, you know, basically just all those distractions, in the end, you're just alone. You're just you by yourself. You are who you are. You are who you are when you are alone. I don't know if you guys ever heard that quote. I don't know who even said that. I'm not going to quote, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you are who you are when you are alone. So if you're one of those people who are always, you know, oh, let me text this girl, you know, texting 5 girls at once or always needs a girlfriend, I advise you especially to spend some time alone. You know, maybe delete social media. That's something that I've done that's helped me. Deleting social media, honestly, for me, I would advise that to you guys, you know, as if you're wanting to, you know, get that same feeling and, you know, really experience, you know, and find out who you are. You guys don't know this, but I'm in the military, or I'm National Guard. So I went and did basic training, and something in basic training is, I don't know if you guys know this, but they take your phone every week and you only get 30 minutes on Sunday. So I had 30 minutes every Sunday on my phone, and it would literally, it was 10 weeks long. So imagine doing that for 10 weeks. And honestly, it really opened my eyes to see how much I could get done during the time that I didn't have my phone. And eventually when I would get my phone, which was on Sunday, I'd only have it for 30 minutes. So it felt like somewhat rewarding, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt so rewarding having your phone and, like, you know, not being on it so much, because I feel like every week was a journey whenever I didn't have my phone, because you know how social media, it just, like, corrupts your brain and, like, your thinking and, you know, all that stuff. So I would really advise, you know, spending some time alone, maybe deleting some social apps and just, you know, going ghost for a little bit, you know, maybe not forever, you know what I'm saying, because no one wants to be that person, but it really does help, has its benefits in helping and, you know, finding out who you are and, like, you know, what you want to do with your life and who you are as a person. Yeah, that's all the advice I had for today. I hope you guys enjoy this video. You know, I would appreciate it if you guys comment and let me know what you guys think about everything. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next vid.